So we now come to the honorific awards. This is a very important part of our scientific conference. We're going to recognize excellence across multiple areas, ranging from young investigators to lifetime achievement. So I'd like to invite Alan Budney up to present the Stephen G. Holtzman Travel Award.
Good morning, everyone. As a person who's been through a course of treatment for hepatitis C, I do care about my liver, and you should all care about your livers. Anyway, it's my pleasure and honor, really, to present the Stephen G. Holtzman Travel Award. And you may be wondering what a clinical scientist is doing up here presenting this award. I'm subbing for the honoree's mentor, Dr. Alan Green. But anyway, before I talk about our winner, you should all know a little bit about Steve Holtzman, a long-standing member of the college until his death. Steve was a professor of pharmacology at Emory University from 1969 to 2007, and also a strong collaborator at the Yerkes Regional Primate Center. He was a CPDD president. He had 2 terms as a treasurer. He won the CPDD Mentoring Award in 2011. It was presented to his wife and son posthumously. 18 graduate students, 21 postdocs, the ideal model scientist and person. So there's a brochure out there, if you haven't seen it, that tells you a little bit more about Steve, and I encourage you to read it. I'm the third or fourth person up here, again, emphasizing the importance of preclinical science to the field. My first contribution to the field, really, as I see it, was co-authoring a chapter with Marilyn Carroll on the animal models of cannabis and human models of cannabis taking. And it was a wonderful experience and really helped me value preclinical science. So our awardee, just so you know, the award is given annually, sometimes biannually, depending if we have candidates and deserving candidates, and it's for a young scientist, usually a postdoctoral trainee involved in preclinical research. U.S. citizenship is not required, and that's important because our winner, Gibran, he's a Canadian citizen, so it's appropriate he's getting it in this venue. It's for excellence in research, for a person who has not yet received NIH support, or maybe who has obtained some funding but is unfunded for travel here, so there's some leeway. So, Gibran. I know Gibran because he works where I work, at Dartmouth College. That's where he is currently. But he got his PhD up in the University of Toronto in the Center for Addiction and Mental Health in the Department of Pharmacology and Toxicology. His mentor there was Rachel Tyndale. During his pre-doctoral work, he published at least 7 papers, some very important papers. One was a first author, award-winning paper that provided some of the first evidence for the functional relevance of brain cytochrome P450s, or CYPs. Got a Canadian Institute Health Research Gold Award. So Gibran's been promising from the start. I got to know him when I came to Dartmouth about 4 or 5 years ago, I think about the same time he got there, where he did his postdoctoral fellowship with Dr. Alan Green, who meant to be here today but had a couple things. He actually booked a flight to come in this morning, but then he hurt his knee, so Alan apologizes, but he substituted the younger Alan for himself. Don't tell him I said that. Anyway, Gibran's work as a postdoc is we're starting out with Alan Green on this alcohol drinking and alcohol preferring rodents model, which he merged into his own line of work, which I think is just fascinating. And I'll tell you a little bit more about why I think Gibran is so fascinating and so deserving. I think there's probably a lot of young preclinical scientists that deserve this award. All I know is Gibran is fabulous, and I'm glad he's getting it. But he's got this rat model of schizophrenia, the NVHL lesion rat model, that he's combined with this alcohol preferring rat area of research. And combined, it really presents this model of dual diagnosis. And we all know that in the addiction field that most of our patients have dual diagnoses, other psychiatric disorders. So this is like epitomizes some preclinical research, really getting at the heart of that, which we need much more of. And some of Gibran's research and others that are doing work in this field is going to be presented, I think, Thursday in a symposium on that topic, and I encourage you to attend that. So he's got this model, and then he's looking at treatment effects on this model using some medications, and I have up there clozapine versus haloperidol, and that's kind of like a straightforward treatment application. But he also has got these neat models that he brings into my office where they're trying to understand why clozapine might work, because clozapine is a nasty drug, so no one's ever really going to take it. So you want to figure out, like, why does it work? So they develop these models where they have these different drugs that have different effects that are somewhat like clozapine, et cetera. So these drug interaction studies that are not really treatment studies, but they're trying to understand the mechanisms of action of the drug and the neural mechanisms so they can move forward in this area. And so Gibran comes into my office and presents these results to a clinical bonehead like myself and expects some input. And that's what's so fascinating. And the way he presents these things to me, I feel like I actually can help, and he helps me understand. We come together with some ideas for my work, and he gets ideas for his work. And I think that's really where the clinical bond needs to happen more often. I certainly appreciate it. The last piece of work that I'll mention of Gibran's that I think is so fascinating, the one he's come most recently into my office with, is these early exposure models of cannabinoids and alcohol. But I've seen the cannabinoid stuff where during some short period of adolescence, exposing the animal to marijuana, and then not measuring for months or whatever when it's adult, you can see real effects on reward learning and other types of behavioral learning. Fascinating. And he's in there trying to figure it out at the neuromechanistic level, et cetera. So Gibran is just a fabulous person. When I said, oh, what should I say about Gibran? Well, mostly the people said, just say he's fantastic. He's a wonderful guy. Gibran, congratulations on this. Come on up and get your award.